everyone. Today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite Kapha balancing recipes, which is the season that we're in, Kapha. So in Ayurveda, which is yoga's sister science, we talk about the fact that like increases like and opposites create balance. So when we're going to find balance, we're going to draw some things that are kind of from the outside of, or the opposite of what we are currently experiencing if we're feeling imbalanced. So Kapha season is spring season. Yeah, it's earth and water. It just sort of generates this feeling of heaviness, lethargy, sort of like this stagnant density. Yeah, it's raining outside. I don't really want to do anything. Be feeling kind of slow and sluggish in my energy level, but then also it can translate into our bodies. Yeah, sometimes we maybe put on a little bit more weight. We're feeling maybe like, oh, my digestion doesn't even do anything at all for me. I'm just feeling yucky and I don't know. I'm feeling sick. Maybe I have mucus building up in my lungs. Any and all of these things are signs of Kapha. Yeah, so the amazing thing with Ayurveda is when we have or experience these imbalances, we can use food or lifestyle or many things to come to balance. So to balance Kapha, we want to use the opposite of earth and water, which is going to be air and space and fire. Yeah, so when it comes to taste, this is going to translate into foods that are pungent, astringent, and bitter. There's like spicy, drying, and that kind of like light, airy bitterness. This comes a lot from like the leafy greens. So today we're gonna make a sort of pseudo lentil dal with some beautiful kale as well. I just kind of made this recipe up, and it's something I make quite often. So I'm gonna do my best to use measurements for you guys. But it will kind of go through what you'll need to do this at home yourself. Yeah, so I use this nice Le Creuset, super old kind of pot that I have at my home. If you don't have this, you can also just use a big pot, totally great and fine. In terms of ingredients, you'll use lentils. The best lentils to use are a split mung dal, which are a bit smaller than this. This is just what my grocery store had. Any legumes are actually considered very astringent. Yeah, it pulls moisture away, which is really great for balancing Kapha. Because Kapha is kind of like this really dense and moist environment. So anything that's astringent is going to be fabulous during this time. So any lentils that you find, the best is going to be a split mung dal. They're the really tiny, cute ones. They come like yellow and red is what I've seen. And they just cook really fast. They're super easy on the digestive system. These are a little bit bigger, but they will do just fine. They're just going to take a little longer to cook. And what you want to do is soak your lentils overnight to allow them to begin to soften. And it helps draw out some of the excess vata as well. So those have been soaking. In terms of spices, it's a very simple sort of ingredient dish, but the spices are quite extensive. Use what you have, and maybe take this as an opportunity to pick up a few more spices for your cabinet. So start off showing you the oil that I use for Kapha time is sesame oil. Sesame is super heating, which is awesome because Kapha tends to be quite cold. So using something that's going to be lighter and heating is great. If you want another good oil to use, would be like a grapeseed oil, or even like a canola oil could be okay, but it's just a little bit more processed. So you want to use something that's less processed, lighter, and heating. Just food for thought. If you want to use olive oil, that's fine too. It's a little bit heavier, but you'll survive. Yeah. I also at the end, speaking of sesame, I have these sesame seeds. Great addition to this dish. I like to use bay leaves, just one or two. We've got the black mustard seeds, which are super nice and heating. This is cumin seeds, yum. Coriander seeds, delicious. Ground cumin. I use both ground and whole cumin and coriander. It just makes it taste yummy. Turmeric, super important in all Indian cooking, but it's also just an amazing, amazing root. Yeah, turmeric is a dried ground root, a super beautiful color, and super amazing healing properties. When you combine it with your cracked pepper, you get anti-inflammatory, which is incredible. And so this is like a great combination for kapha. It's a great combination for if you are feeling sick. It's a great combination if you are injured. If you're going through a hard time, it's just a good friend to have, turmeric and black pepper. Yeah, I use fenugreek powder, which is almost has like an oniony thing going on, but it's really great for this time. And then the last spice that I use that's dry is asafoetida or hing. This is like a Indian Ayurvedic super spice. This is often what's used in replacement of onion or garlic, because we don't really use a lot of onion or garlic in Ayurveda. All food is considered medicine, and therefore using onion and garlic every day is not recommended. If you were ever to use onion or garlic, now is the time, because it's super pungent and it can be healing for kaphic imbalances. But just being aware that it is considered to be like really exciting for the body system. So maybe give it a try. Like sometimes I love onion and garlic, but sometimes I'll like go without it for a week and then I'll wait and see like, oh, am I feeling really heavy? If I'm feeling really fired up already, I try to avoid it. But if I am having kind of like a low day, I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna add some garlic. Let's see how I feel. And it is kind of like an instant like, whew, mood boost. Just food for thought. Okay. In terms of fresh spices, I've been loving these little cute serrano peppers. We're only gonna use like half of one. They're pretty spicy, but this is a great time to be including spicy pepper and just things that are spicy in general into your diet, because it'll help kind of break up mucus and the density in the body. Heating foods open up the channels of the body and allow for things to move. Yeah, heat, sort of this transformative fire. It's kind of metaphorical, but it also is really what is happening inside of us. Yeah, when we generate heat, it allows for things to break down and change, and then we can let go of them. So nice. I just need to take a moment to appreciate garlic. This isn't garlic. I just need to take a moment to appreciate ginger. We already talked about garlic. Ginger is one of the most amazing spices. I know I said turmeric was like the most amazing root, but ginger is right up there with it. Ginger is like the most healing thing ever. Yeah, right now, if like you're experiencing any like sore throat, or if you're just not feeling good, you're feeling foggy in the mind, your stomach hurts, you have mucus in your lungs, you are injured, it's another anti-inflammatory. Anything at all, ginger will probably solve it. It's insane. Like, this is just the best thing ever. If you are feeling sick, a great way to utilize the properties of ginger is cutting like maybe an inch or two of ginger and chopping it up and boiling it in water for 30 minutes, and then drinking that. A super spicy ginger tea will like get rid of any illness, I swear. Or you could even, like, I've made a warm compress using that ginger tea against things that are feeling inflamed. If you are injured, if you're feeling really stressed, you can place a warm compress of ginger tea on your low back to calm down your adrenal glands. It's just amazing. So I use ginger in almost everything I do, especially in this doll. So, and then what I'm also going to make is a mint chutney. Right now I don't have in my fridge. I don't have any cilantro. So I'm just gonna use, I have a ton of mint left over. We made dinner the other night. So I'm gonna use the rest of this mint to make a little chutney. That'll be really nice on top of our dal. I love a fresh herby sauce. I always joke like I'm a sauce girl, because I just think that it is a great way to like just really pack some punch and flavor and sort of cut through the spiciness of the rest of the dish. So we'll make a nice herby, spicy, fresh chutney. Awesome. So this is about a tablespoon of dried cumin. I'm gonna put about the same amount, maybe a little bit more, dried turmeric. Like I said, I don't really measure very well. About the same amount of dried coriander. About that much. This is about, I'd say, a teaspoon of dried fenugreek. And then for the hing or the asafoetida, you really do not need much. Seems like just a baby amount in comparison to the rest, but it's super pungent, yeah? Just a little bit. And then to this, I'm gonna add a few cracks of black pepper and just a pinch of salt to start. I usually salt at the end anyways. Over here, got our beautiful whole spice plate. I'd say about a tablespoon each of the dried mustard seeds, dried cumin seeds, and dried coriander seeds, and then like 1 or 2 of these dried bay leaves. Okay, so this is my serrano pepper and my ginger. The serrano pepper, I did about half of one of these guys. Depends on how spicy you like it. I figure that's plenty. And I also like it with a little bit more texture for both of them. You can always chop things finer. I love ginger, so I do plenty of ginger. And I also like the texture of little bits of ginger at the end. It's up to you. Some people grate the ginger with a little grater. It's whatever you like. So just in all, we have our beautiful whole spices, our fresh spices, and our yummy ground spices, and we're gonna still add our cracked pepper and salt. So gorgeous. Oh, I didn't talk about lime, but we like to add lime to everything. Nice fresh kick at the end. Yum. Okay, so in here we have about 1 cup of lentils that we soaked overnight, and about 6 cups of water, 1 to 6. These lentils are going to take a lot of water and time to cook, so this is actually going to reduce down and be nice and thick. But you can start with like maybe a 1 to 4 ratio for your lentils, depending on what you like. And if you like it thicker, you just cook it off longer. Yeah, we're going for nice, soft, kind of mushy lentils. But we can notice all of this foam that's coming up on top. And a great Ayurvedic tip that I learned is to scoop off this foam, say goodbye, at the beginning of the cooking process. I know some people are adverse to lentils because they say lentils give me gas or they make me bloated. A lot of people say that they are kind of counterproductive for their digestion, and they're like, I don't understand why Ayurveda loves lentils. But this can really help with that reaction to the lentils. Yeah, so this is removing, in Ayurveda, we call it vata, excess vata, this sort of air and space element in the lentils themselves. Just gets kind of boiled off, which is kind of amazing. So you'll notice if you do this at the beginning of the boil here, you don't have to be perfect. Like I could probably stop there. There might be some more that comes up. Just paying attention for like these first 10, 15 minutes that this foam that comes up, we can totally just take off and say bye-bye, and it'll make it nice and easy to digest. Something I just wanted to point out, you might be like, oh, when do I put in the spices? An amazing thing that Indian cuisine uses is chants, which I'd never heard of before I started cooking some of these things. But it is a way of bringing out the aromatics and the medicinal qualities of all of the spices through sauteing them in a little oil. And we'll use this sesame oil in a little bit, but actually we don't add that into the lentils until like very close to the end of cooking. So right now we're just letting the lentils and the water just bubble away. We got all that foam off of there, and we're just letting it go. Yeah, it'll probably take, depending on your lentils, if you're using split mung, it'll probably take 20 to 30 minutes. You just want super mushy, soft goodness. These lentils might take a little bit longer, like 30 to 40 minutes. But in the meantime, we can make our chutney. Yum. Okay, so this is going to be our chutney. I've got a Vitamix here. Just a nice blender. If you have a Vitamix, a NutriBullet, or any sort of blender will do. Put about like 1 or 2 handfuls of herbs in here. This is a quite to taste recipe, so I'm just kind of eyeballing here. I just have mint today, but you could throw in cilantro, parsley. You could even use like carrot tops. I love the use of carrot tops, but for now we're just using mint. I have another little half buddy of the serrano pepper if you want more spice, which I do. And I have this little nubbin of ginger. It depends on how much you like the taste. So then I'm gonna squeeze a couple halves of lime, nice and juicy in there. Making a sauce is really just a great way to just bring in some more flavor and some of that beautiful medicinal quality. Limes are really great for digestion. You use a lot of lemon. Sometimes lemon can be a little bit too acidic. The lime is a great sort of palate cleanser. So good. I'm gonna add just a little bit of sesame oil, just like, boop, that's it. Some salt, and I think that's gonna be it for me. I'm gonna add a little bit of water and then I'm gonna blend it up. Okay, yum. So I just blended this sauce on high and with a little water, and then I gave it a taste. Yum, super spicy, which I like. You might want to do a little bit less pepper if you don't like super spicy, but it's really good. It's also a little bit watery, which I don't mind because I'm just gonna spoon it on top, and it's still super flavorful. It doesn't taste like water. But just you can adjust the consistency based off of what you like. If you want it to be a little bit thicker, you could add some nuts or seeds. Sometimes I'll add some sunflower seeds to kind of bind it together. You can also add some spinach or other dark leafy greens to give it a little bit more body. Today, this is gonna be just perfect for me. Yummy. Okay, so checking on my lentils, you'll notice the amount of water to lentil has changed, and you can sort of take a few out here and just put it on the cutting board. And what I like to do is just like place the spoon on top of it just to see how soft it is. Some of them are really soft, some of them are a little bit harder. So I'm gonna let it go for a bit longer. I also like for mine to be a little bit less watery. But this could be potentially time that you start your chimes. Fabulous. Let's do that. All right, so there's a reason that we have our spices set up in this way. It's because they take different amounts of time to cook. And it all goes pretty quick, so it's nice to have everything set up ahead of time. So we're gonna go in this order. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry, as long as you have these 3 things set up, you will be just fine. Here I have about 3 or so tablespoons of sesame oil, and I'm just gonna get these guys right in here. Put that down. I'm gonna start swirling the pan. If you're more comfortable using a spoon, that's also fine. I just want them to bubble away for a little bit. So cute. I like to use this opportunity to start sending some love to my food. Just kind of thinking about all of the different places that this food has come from and all of the people that have touched this food. Yeah, we don't always think about that as we're cooking. But just like, wow, these peppers, this ginger, even the sesame oil, even this pan. Yeah, it's pretty amazing the things that we are able to do with the food and all of the sort of support we get along the way to be able to make this happen. Yeah, cute little lentils doing their thing. So next we're gonna go for these guys. You'll notice just the edges of the peppers and the ginger are starting to kind of like not get brown necessarily, but they're just starting to change. So kind of an intuitive thing. I'd say like 1 to 2 minutes, and then from there we can pour these guys in and do the same thing. Yeah, this is when it starts to get a little thick, so using a little spoon, just make sure everybody gets covered and sort of gets in the pool there. Every so often I have to add a little bit more oil because sometimes I just add so many spices that it's just going to be super flavorful and yummy. But we might need a little bit more oil to carry the spices. Yeah, so you'll notice these little mustard seeds in here just begin to pop a bit. You might hear, there it goes. Yeah, you'll notice the change in the sound, which is really beautiful. Food just really tells us things. So you start to hear that little crackle crackle, and then you're ready for more spices. Shoop. Yeah, so this is when you really want to kind of work quickly. This doesn't need to go on for more than maybe 2 minutes. It's really just to get the dry spices saturated in the oil, just waking everybody up here. Yummy. It smells so good. I can't wait for you to try this. Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, it kind of looks like something that I made when I was a child in the dirt or something, but I swear it's just the most delicious, spicy, flavorful yumminess you ever did taste. Yeah, so that's probably done. Turn off the heat, and then we're gonna come bring it over to pour it into the lentils. Yeah, this is gonna go in here. And it's a whole new pot of lentils. Yeah, so got all that spicy goodness in here, starting to infuse and sort of carry all of that good flavor and medicinal qualities, that pungent, astringent, bitter, just so yummy. Yeah. so from here, this is when you get to start doing whatever you like. Yeah, I'm gonna let this cook on down for a bit because I want it to be nice and squishy and a little bit less water. I'll give it about 10 more minutes here. Yum. Another fun trick you can do with your dal or your cooked lentils, some people will take about half of this mixture and put it in the blender to sort of give it a more creamy texture. I like to use this masher. It's like a potato masher. You're just gonna run it through and start to break up some of the lentils a little bit more. This will also help to thicken everything. It's a little hot, take a little break, give it a little stir. And it just depends on how soupy you like it. I like mine to be a little bit thicker. And we're still gonna be adding some kale. So we're just taking our time, taking any of these extra moments to just, again, put a little love in the food. I think, you know, you can taste the difference between food that was made with stress and food that is made with a good amount of love. And it's just like taking time to reflect. So as my lentils are cooking, I know this sounds so silly, but really just taking this time to sort of like fangirl over your food. Yeah, the lentils came from a very far away place. All of these spices came from a very far away place, and it smells so good. And I just used my hands to put this together. And that's so cool. Yeah, and when I eat this, it's gonna feel so good. It's gonna give my body nourishment, and it's really, this food is gonna become my body, which is gonna allow me to move forward. And I think that taking a moment to just really let that enter your mind, even if it's just a second, you don't need to be so ridiculous. I'm a dramatic person, but food is amazing. And sometimes I just love to think about it, especially while it's cooking, because it's like this consciousness right now, I'm putting that into the food and it's gonna taste so good because I'm loving the food. Yeah, so just take a moment, do it in your own way. I like to sing to my food. I like to smile at my food and hum while I cook. But listen to yourself. Do what you need to do. Just give a little bit of love to your food. Okay, so things are looking nice and thick over here, which is quite amazing. Think of like where we started was just lentils and water. We're gonna start adding some kale, a couple big old handfuls. Leafy greens really wilt down, and I also just really love leafy greens, so I try to just add a ton, and I enjoy it. Yeah, so putting as much in there as you want, and then just letting the lid keep in some of that steam. I'd probably wait about 3 minutes and then we'll check on it. Just returning again to the fact that food is amazing. Food comes from the earth, and we cook it up or we just eat it right out of Mama Earth soil. We chew it and it goes into our bodies, and then it becomes us. And our bodies are so wise that they keep what they need and then they just get rid of the rest. And we are so fortunate to have this conscious mind that allows us to experiment and to get creative and to learn about how food makes us feel. And through the science of Ayurveda and different food sciences, we learn how to eat for how we are feeling. So through our own exploration of what it means for it to be Kapha season, we can then internalize that wisdom and create food that is going to nourish us and make us feel better. That's amazing. Food is amazing. Yeah? I'm just talking to myself here in quarantine right now, but I'm so grateful for food and for vegetables and spices. So we're gonna check on the kale now, but just had to put that out there. Okay. Yum. Look at that nice bright green kale. And start kind of stirring everything in here. This is sometimes when things start sticking to the bottom of the pan or the pot. So something that we can do to help us out here a little bit is some water. Yeah, it's amazing. It goes from having too much liquid to then all of a sudden being dry, but this is just, I mean, you can't really overcook it. You just want to make sure it's not burning on the bottom. So you see, I added a lot of kale. So it's almost going to be like a warm dal salad situation. I'm going to take out this, nice and hot, this bay leaf. We don't want to eat that. And I think this is done. Yum. Oh. Yeah, so if you want more dal to kale ratio, just adjust based off of what your preference is. Yummy. Time to plate it up now. Holy moly, yum. So this is what we just made, and that is so awesome. This is that chutney that we made also, and I'm gonna just go ahead and put a couple of spoonfuls here. I'm not as neat in the kitchen as I make it seem. I love this stuff, so I usually just lather it right on. Add lastly some yummy sunflower, or what is this? Sesame seeds. A little extra for good measure. And just like to point out that this amount of food is perfect for Kapha time. Something to bear in mind with Kapha season is that we love to overeat and overindulge. I'm not free from that guilt, yeah? So something that I like to try to ask of myself, doesn't always go so well, but I do my best, is use my hands as measurements, yeah? Food that can fit in both hands, like if you were to scoop your food in your hands, that's a perfect amount of food. You don't need to be eating to be too full, just enough to where you feel satisfied, yeah? So start off with a nice 2-hand portion, and then hang out for like 10 minutes and see how you feel. You'll probably feel pretty nourished and satisfied, and you can save the rest for dinner. Yeah, we like to eat it as soon as possible, so maybe share with some friends that we has as much prana and as much beautiful life as possible in this amazing food. But otherwise, just listen to your body. I think we stop listening to our bodies, and then that's when we sort of overindulge or we say no to the things that'll actually make us feel better. So just listen and enjoy this amazing food. I hope that you love it. It tastes different every time I make it because I never measure the spices. But hopefully this gives you a little bit of structure to make some yummy lentil kale dal salad with chutney. Sending lots of love. Let me know if you have any questions. Mwah. Okay, let's just talk about how perfect food is one last time. Wowie, wow. So yum. You can see all that goodness is gonna go inside of my belly and make me feel so good. Wow. Food is awesome. I hope you're enjoying yourself.